Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we are going to take a deep dive into the energies and the numerology for October 2022. We're also going to look at not only how these energies will affect the collective, we're also going to break it down into each life path number. And for each life path number, we're also going to take a look at how the new moon and the full moon illuminations for the month will potentially affect your energy. And we also have a partial solar eclipse that's occurring on October 25th. So there is a lot going on this month. This, of course, is a general forecast. If you would like a personalized reading and coaching session, you can find my information in the description box below. I would absolutely love to work with you, and that one-on-one will give you a better idea of the energies, the numerology that your soul has signed up for in this lifetime, and how to potentially best work with them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So October is a potentially volatile, there's a lot of volatile energies circulating this month. Of course, just because the energy is there and it carries a certain amount of weight, it's really what we do with the energy that's going to make the difference, right? I always say that it's how we participate, it's how we show up. You can have volatile energy, you can have challenging energy, but if you can move through it, change your perspective, change, again, how you participate with the energy, the outcome will be derived from your actions, not necessarily from the energy, right? So just kind of keep that in mind, because this can be somewhat challenging energies that are really at the focal point for October, to be completely honest. It's a 16/7 universal cycle. So I would say the key word for the month of October is awakening. The influencing energy of this 16 is really what I want to focus on, because that 16 energy can bring about major transformational events that can have the power to completely change the course and the direction of someone's life. So in tarot, the 16 energy is represented by the Tower card. So often when we think of Tower energy, we think of massive destruction, chaos, or crumbling of major parts or points of our lives that need to be then rebuilt, and typically rebuilt in a different way so that they can be more sustainable. So this, of course, can be one aspect of this energy, and there are people who this month will see those energies come in full force to dismantle something that's not working and to basically crumble it down so that it can be rebuilt in a way that is much more beneficial for the long run, right? But this energy can also represent major realizations and aha moments that allow us to sort of come out of the other side of a particularly challenging situation with much more self-awareness and strength, and then armed with that self-awareness or clarity, right, around a situation. And then we can choose to make different decisions around that situation, around relationships, around career, around purpose, whatever, wherever this energy shows up. And again, if everything in your life at this moment through October is pretty good, is moving pretty well, you feel pretty sound and secure, sometimes life will throw curveballs, but for the most part, if things feel like they're pretty solid and you've been doing a lot of work, inner work, outer work, whatever, you may not really feel these energies too intensely, right? You may have gone through this energy previously that helped you to rebuild in the way that you needed to rebuild. And so for you, it may be that someone that you love or someone that you know is really moving through these energies, and you're just called to sort of hold space and to help them through it. So that's really possible as well. So the 16 and the Tower energies are not disempowering energies. I want to make that very, very clear. A lot of times, again, it's kind of like we see Tower energy come in, or we see 16 energy come in, and we're like, oh shit, like, what is the universe going to do to me now? Or what is life going to do to me now, right? Like, there is definitely things in life that we cannot control. But we can control, again, like how we show up, how we change our our perspective around whatever the situation is to make it work for us, even if it looks different than how we feel it should look, or it looks different than how we expect it to look. There is empowerment in that process. There is this sense of gaining your power back when you realize that, yeah, you don't always have control over what's happening to you or other people's actions or whatever, but you absolutely have control and power when it comes to how you show up to the situation, how you choose to participate, the decisions that you choose to make around a situation. You always have that ace in your hand, right? Always. So the Tower energy, the 16 energy are not disempowering energies. They are very much empowering energies that assist us through this sort of divine intervention in making much more aligned and supportive decisions when it comes to the direction of our own lives. Now, again, people can go through these sort of Tower 16 energy moments or periods and still continue to make the same choices. And guess what? They're just going to continue to face very difficult challenges around those experiences until they come to their own realization that maybe I need to do things differently. Maybe I need to participate differently. Maybe I need to call in and surround myself with different types of people, right? A different vibration. And so, again, it always, always, always comes down to how we choose to participate. We are always in the driver's seat. So it isn't always, of course, the most comfortable experience while we're in the middle of it. However, once we are on the other side of it, we're often very grateful for the much needed transformation, the much needed clarity, and the greater understanding around maybe where it was that we were stuck, maybe where we had blind spots, maybe, again, where it is that we kept showing up in a particular way that was influencing the experience in a way that was not working, right? So again, this is an opportunity for much greater understanding. And again, that sort of awakening where it's like once you sort of wake up to this, whatever this is, you can't not know it anymore. You can't not see it, right? So again, as I mentioned at the end of the month, we have a very significant solar eclipse occurring on October 25th. That's in the sign of Scorpio, which of course Scorpio is the epitome of death, transformation, rebirth. It is the epitome of Tower energy. Because it's ruled by Pluto and co-ruled by Mars, right? And so this month, not only do we have the 16 energy, but it coincides very much with the Scorpionic energy that we've got throughout a lot of the month as well, especially the latter portion of October, especially at that eclipse. And I think that eclipse, for a lot of people, where there needs to be some kind of mass transformation, where there needs to be some kind of again, change in direction. I think that eclipse is going to be a pivotal point for a lot of people. Again, when it comes to these energies of the 16-7. And so I think that we'll probably see the 16 energy be most sort of condensed or, most potent around the time of this eclipse. And now also with the eclipse energy, that energy can can start a storyline or continue a storyline, but that we'll see play out for maybe the next 3 to 6 months, right? So it's not like in October or around this eclipse that we're going to necessarily see all of these things happen or this massive awakening occur within our lives or on a global stage. Remember, this is also playing out on a global stage. But this can be the initiation. This can be sort of that lightning strike. And then for the next several months, sort of see how that plays out. And so a lot more clarity will come in and a lot more of this like awakening potential will come through in the next 6 or so months. So just kind of keep that in mind. But it does have the potential to be very life altering where it needs to be. That's the key. It's, again, these energies don't work against us. This is the universe working with our soul to get us to where it is that the soul wants to get to in this lifetime, right? And so when the energies are at play, it comes in where it needs to. And so it's very much, even when it seems challenging, especially when it seems challenging, these are assisting energies because sometimes we need that kick in the butt to change direction, to see things differently, to get out of our own sort of drama and our own storyline to, again, get a much broader perspective. And so it's very beneficial. These energies are very beneficial, even though they can be incredibly uncomfortable. So when it comes to the 16/7 cycle, the sort of unforeseen and sudden events of this period are, again, meant to sort of overthrow existing conditions, including in the material sense. So poor habits are included with this, and belief systems are also going to be included in this. So if we have a certain belief system that has not been working, this energy will assist in shaking it up. We could easily see, again, big shakeups on the global stage now, as well as in our personal lives. That's very, very possible. Again, this can kind of, a lot of times with 16 or Tower energy, there has to be this breaking point. There has to be this chaotic culmination sometimes. And so first you're going to see that before you see everything crumble, and then before you can rebuild. That's sort of what makes it so uncomfortable. And so again, we could easily see this play out on the global stage, and that can look like chaos. That can look like volatility. That can look like things just falling apart. But it needs to, so that we can rebuild in a much more elevated fashion, right? So things that are done at this time or have been done, I would say have been done for strictly selfish reasons that also aim to hurt others, that can absolutely have a boomerang effect and cause great loss for the instigator. So it's sort of like instant karma. I think of like the John Lennon song, Instant Karma. Instant karma's gonna get ya. It's kind of like that. So it's not only like, things that have been in the process of being done for selfish reasons to hurt other people. It's also things that are instigated at this time that are being done for personal gain, and that also have the aftermath of hurting others. Any situation like that, you're going to see over the next several months, there be this like massive boomerang effect where it's like, it comes back to that instigator. There may be it may wreak havoc, in its path, but it's going to come back to the instigator. So there's no sort of getting out of this if your intentions are ill-willed. Whatever it is that you instigate, initiate under this energy has the potentiality to come right back at you, just like instant karma. Whether you believe in karma or not, it's kind of like, so it's going to find its way back to you. So I would be I would check your integrity before taking action this month. And that's not to like scare you. That's just, if what you're doing is out of the kindness of your heart or out of sort of vindictiveness or trying to get ahead and stepping on whoever you can step on or whatever, right? We know when something is good. We know when something is bad. We know if something is good for us and others. We know if something isn't, just from the way that it feels, right? So there's no kind of getting around that. As much as you may want to do something for selfish purposes, I would highly recommend maybe not doing that. It's one thing to do things for a selfish reason if it's not hurting anybody else, right? Including yourself. And I would really say if it's not hurting other people, right? Because you have free will. But just check the integrity before you take any major risks this month, especially if it has the potential to. If it goes against the goodwill of others, maybe don't do it. Okay. So in matters of the heart, under 16-7 energy, where there has been deception or lies, these areas can come to light now to be dealt with. So if there's been like a separation from a close partner or someone who you feel a close soul connection with, and trouble in relationships typically, right, generally speaking, often stem from some kind of ego, pride, and emotions that haven't been properly dealt with. And so we can have the opportunity to properly do that now. Again, if we choose to. I mean, it will surface and then we can decide how we want to address it. But it's very possible under the 16-7 energy. Remember, this is awakening energy. It's going to bring things to light. And that includes in relationships or matters of the heart. And so again, it's that digging deeper and getting to the truth of the matter. So if there's anywhere where you haven't been completely honest with a partner or somebody who you're close with, chances are that is going to come to light in one way or another. Because as the saying goes, the truth always prevails or comes to the surface, right? And under 16-7 energy, it's really hard to keep those things hidden. So it's very possible that those things will come to the surface. And so it's much better for everyone involved if you are just upfront and honest about whatever it is, get it out in the open, deal with it, and then move from that space, as opposed to it coming to light and then having to try to clean that up, right? Just save your energy, deal with whatever it is that you need to deal with, and work through it in whatever ways. And remember that, you have the choice to handle it however you want to handle it, and so does your partner or the other person. And you have no control over what they choose to do, but you do have an opportunity at this time to, by invitation, before divine intervention comes in, to just bring it to the light, just get it out there, right? And just deal with the aftermath. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. The energy operating under this cycle can feel really, really intense. So try not to overwork. Try not to take big, huge risks in business, financially, or in relationships now, unless it's something that you have been working towards for quite some time or prior to this energy sort of coming in, which I would say we've probably been feeling for at least a month now. Be really careful about engaging in conflicts with others now. Like I said, this can be volatile energy. And so again, things can be brought to the surface now that can really get people's emotions sparked. There can be a lot of reactivity. So just, maneuver those waters, gently, right? And if it's not the right time to try to, talk through whatever it is that you need to talk through or work through, whatever you need to work through, because the other person or you are not in the right headspace, then just pause, take a breath, and wait until the energy feels a little bit less volatile, because there is the potentiality, like I said, for things to really flare up now and come to light, and you don't know how other people are going to handle that. So I would say be very careful about reactivity, be very careful about engaging in those conflicts with others. This is a month where personal peace over the need to be right will be worth more than its weight in gold. So where you can choose personal peace and harmony this month, that is going to, not avoidance, right? Like, but having the conversation and letting the person know, I'm not in the headspace, or maybe you're not in the headspace. Let's push the pause button. Let's wait and come back to this. We're not going to avoid it. We're not going to dismiss it. We'll come back to it when we're in a better place. That is going to be so much more beneficial than trying to butt heads over whatever this is. This can also be an incredibly ambitious period where we feel like we have more energy and drive than we know what to do with. So take note of those big ideas and focus that energy on planning and getting your ducks in a row now. Do your research, work to assemble your team, or get funding, or come up with your business plan. The insights that can come in under this energy do hold the potential to be very, very successful. You know, there can be a potentiality here for eventual fame, prosperity, and great financial gain, especially if there is integrity behind what it is that you're building towards and you aren't obsessed with ownership. That's a big one. Because again, this is kind of like Pluto energy, even a big dose of like Mars energy, and Plutonian, like Pluto energy can be very obsessive. It can really be obsessed with like ownership and like control and those things, right? It's a power energy. It's very much like a dominating, powerful energy. And so just check your integrity behind whatever it is that you're building at this point or what you're moving towards, and make sure that you aren't obsessed with ownership. And of course that goes with relationships as well. So just keep checking in with yourself. With this big burst of sort of fiery energy, we may feel at this time, like we're just sort of consumed by it. So try to channel that energy into a controlled burn that is going to be sustainable rather than something that's sort of combustible and that burns out really quickly, leaving us feeling depleted. Because that's very, very possible with all this energy. That sort of type of over expenditure could eventually take a toll on our health. And so we need to make sure we slow down and we steady the pace. Because just remember that, there isn't necessarily unlimited kindling. We want to make sure that we have this slow burn so that we can build something sustainable. I would also say, write down any aha moments or deep, profound insights that come in for you this month, because chances are you might not be able to work with those ideas necessarily right at that moment, or the aha moment can feel a little bit overwhelming when it first comes in, like when that lightning bolt first strikes. And so we just want to make sure that we're writing it down, because chances are that these are going to be key areas that we will be working with for the next several months. So we will be revisiting all of this until we get to until we overcome it, until we work through it, until we build whatever it is that we're trying to build. And so whatever comes in this month for you that feels significant is significant. And these are going to be key components to a much greater storyline, right? So pay attention. And you don't have to write it down because it's going to come back. It'll keep revisiting until it's acknowledged and it's worked with. But writing it down can help you to feel like you have some level of control over the situation, right? Like you can start to plan, you can start to figure out how to work best with the energy that works for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at your own personal life path number and take a look at those full moon and new moon illuminations as well. Life path number 3. So I pulled an animal spirit message for you all, and you got chameleon energy. So with this energy for October, there's something here about blending in and being the observer of a situation. So not getting overly involved, not trying to be overly influential. When it comes to something significant, You want to be the observer. You want to sort of be in the background, see how things are playing out before you decide how you want to act. I think that's going to be really, really important. And that we go back to what I talked about in the intro with not being overly reactive. I think for threes during October, that's going to be important. Threes are probably more used to being the life of the party, to being the center stage, that sort of thing. It's a very social energy, but I think that there's a call here with chameleon energy, again, to blend in, to stand kind of back and just take it all in before making a decision, before deciding how you want to act. I think that's going to be really important, kind of seeing what the situation needs before making a decision to act. I think that's going to be really, really important for threes around some kind of situation for you. Adaptation is also coming in really strongly, of course, with chameleon. And so again, you may be called to adapt to certain situations in a way that feels good, not only for you, but for other people, and that's healthy. So that you're not, so you're kind of releasing control over a situation in a sense, right? If the universe keeps showing you that you don't have control over the situation, then that's your cue to surrender and be adaptable to whatever the energy is trying to show you. You could also see with chameleon spirit, a lot coming in around like clairvoyance, like really like being very, very much in touch with your intuitive side, your more psychic side, really being able to read a room. And that's what I mean. You're not going to be able to read the room if you're not present and observing the room, right? Like if you just come in and bulldoze and try to like make everyone see things your way, that sort of thing, you're not giving an opportunity to really read the room and see what other people are bringing to the table, because that can give you a lot of insight. So I would say this month, with, as often as possible, be the observer. Okay, so looking at the month ahead for you and the two illuminations. So October, you all are working with 19-1 energy. Surprisingly, this is a beautiful love vibe energy, where especially like in relationships, as you relate to other people, your greater community, with collaborations, you could see obstacles overcome at this time. Maybe there's a shift in the way that you relate to people. Maybe there's a shift in the way that people relate to you. But there's this very strong like love vibration. And so again, it's just like people coming together, you being able to see other sides of a situation, other people being able to see other sides, and just meeting somewhere in the middle. So this is beautiful, beautiful energy. This is a time for new beginnings for you all, for rewards to be coming in, acknowledgements, accolades, all of those beautiful things. So like things that you have really worked hard towards or put a lot of energy into, you could really see big rewards come through now for that, which is incredibly beautiful. This can be a time for marriage, for taking a relationship to another level, specifically more around contracts. So this could be like you starting a new business, you getting a new business partner, getting funding, settlements of some sort, but that where you get, you feel good about the outcome, even if it's different than what you had expected it to be. It's very possible now that you see good fortune, whether that's in your relationships, whether that's monetary, whether that's like through some kind of inheritance and you accumulate all this wealth or whatever. That's very possible. Now, of course, you would have to go through the loss of that person, which would be difficult, and you'd have to move through that. But there's the potential for whatever it is that they leave you to bring you a substantial amount of good fortune. And so definitely receive that with an open heart. This is also a beautiful energy for happy reunions. So relationships that have fallen by the wayside, people who have fallen away, maybe abruptly, or something happened. This can be a time for a coming together, for mending that situation and feeling much better about it. So it's not like holding a grudge and then like, there's no toxicity here. This is coming together where both parties have grown and they are able to kind come back together in a different place, at a different space in their own lives. And so it's a happy reunion. And so it's very possible for that. Or it could be like actual like family reunions, or getting together, or going on a road trip with friends, or whatever. This is a beautiful time for that. This is also an energy to not be too overly impulsive. So just really make sure that you are preparing future plans carefully. And that's where I go back to chameleon spirit as well. Be the observer. Take it all in. Like, make sure you know what you're working with before you pounce. That's kind of really going to be key for you all in October. Just to kind of calm that impulsive nature, to know what it is that you're working with, and who you're working with, and what are their intentions, and what are your intentions, and how do those merge? You know what I mean? This can be a very powerful planning period for you all. Now for you all, for the full moon that's occurring on October 9th in the sign of Aries, this is also, you're working with one energy with this as well. And so it's also a very good fortune like energy as well. So it's kind of like any plans that you start or initiate or that take root at this time have the potential to be incredibly successful. Again, you might not see it happen right now, but this is going to be potentially a very fruitful time for you. Now, you could see at this time around this illumination, things coming to culmination that you have been working on previously, right? Again, where you see those accolades or those rewards coming in for efforts put forth previously. That's very, very possible under this full moon. Now, for the eclipse, this is very potent energy that we're all going to be working with. For you all, it's going to fall within the energy of the 8. And so again, we're going to focus on like career, status, power struggles could come up at this time. Boundaries, setting healthy boundaries, taking the lead, taking the initiative, anything, again, sort of governed by that 8 energy, which is very much in the physical plane, but also very spiritual. So you could see like these very strong, like prophetic downloads come through at this time. You could feel very clairvoyant. Remember, we go back to chameleon spirit. So you could get some very strong downloads at this time from your higher consciousness, helping you to decide what direction you want to move into. Money could come into the forefront around this time as well. So finances, other people's money. If there's something where you've been waiting to get paid for something, that may come to culmination. It may also happen that you have to take action around that and, take legal proceedings or whatever. That's very possible. Inheritance could come through at this time. Yeah, so really anything to do with like resources. Again, you could see a change in status, whether that's with career or relationships. There could be a major shift, or again, this major like awakening energy where a lot of clarity comes in. So maybe you're in a position now that's just not working, but you haven't done anything about it. This eclipse is going to kind of assist you in moving into a direction that's much more aligned. This would be great energy around this eclipse to start a new business, to launch a business, to get your name out there, to see like major recognition when it comes to popularity. This can be very, very potent and powerful when it comes to, again, your career, to your social standing, to your status, any of those things. So you are working with incredibly beautiful energy at this time. Now, again, it's what you do with it. So make sure you pay attention to those opportunities that come in. Make sure that you observe them, you take it all in, you see what you're working with and who you're working with before you make those big decisions. But don't let the opportunities pass you by, because more than likely anything that kind of comes in for you that feels like an opportunity in October, it may feel bigger than you, but I would say go for it, because this is very powerful energy that you're working with throughout October, especially at the time of the eclipse on the 25th, has the potential to just catapult you into just unforeseen success and set you up for a very long time. So beautiful energies this month for you all threes. I hope this was helpful. Thank you all so much for listening. Take care. Bye for now.